Good afternoon. Karmanya Vadika Raste Mafaleshu Kadachana. This is probably one of the most important learning that you can take away from the Bhagavad Gita. It says, you have only the right to work. You do not have the right to the fruits of your work. Or, in other words, do what you can do because you can, without any expectation of anything in return. Anybody who came up with this doesn't understand human beings, right? Because it's absolutely contrary to what we all do. We go to school to go to college, we go to college to get a degree, we go to work to earn money. We do everything with an expectation. We want an outcome out of it. We don't do it for any reason other than the outcome or the goal that we are seeking to achieve. And I used to think that this was by far the most untrue learning that I could take away, but life had something else in store for me. I get to work with a lot of startups, I get to do a lot of events because that's my job. And because experiments are a great way to teach people different things, we conduct a lot of experiments in our events through which we make it possible for people to see things practically. So, as a part of one of such events with students such as you, we conducted an event where we wanted to prove leadership. The setup was very simple. We took two groups of 4 students each. Each team would be assigned 4 exercises, same exercises. So they had to choose one person and allocate an exercise to each person, and then they had to go ahead and bid. The team with the highest bid for a particular exercise was assigned the exercise. They had to do the number that they had bid. And if they were unable to do that, the other team which had made the lower bid would have to go ahead and perform the exercise and see if they can achieve the number that they had set out to achieve. Now, when we went ahead and did this, 2 groups each bid for 2 exercises each. And they both were able to perform what they set out to do. And this meant that we had a tie. Both teams had achieved what they had set out to achieve. So we had a tiebreaker scenario, but we wanted to spice things up. So we introduced an expectation. We introduced a fruit. We said there will be a 4,000 rupee gift voucher that's given to the team that wins. So at this point things got really spicy and the bidding started going up. The exercise that was picked was sit-ups, and the person who had been assigned that exercise had to do it again. So the biddings picked up and it started getting pushed up. In the first round they had bid for 30. In the second round the winning team, which was group 1, had bid for 110. This was nearly 4 times higher. They actually managed to do 110 and they won it. At this point I wasn't thinking anymore about leadership. What I was actually thinking about was potential. These kids had the potential to do 110 to begin with, but they bid only 30. Why did they do that? They had much greater potential. Why didn't they try to achieve their potential? Why didn't they push themselves? Was the question that I was constantly asking myself. And the thought that came to me was, you're always trying to look at the ends and see if the means justify the ends that you're going to achieve. If that end is sufficient enough for the effort that you're going to put in, which means that most of us here end up doing far below what our potential is, and we never achieve our true potential. But this is normal, this is natural for people to do. But then something happened in my own life which changed my perspective altogether. 2.5 years back, I started a community called Startups Club. Startups Club was a startup community where we were going to help early stage entrepreneurs. I work with a lot of early stage startups, and typically the questions that come around are the same. How do you incorporate a company? How do I find a co-founder? And these are questions for which I do not need to charge them a consulting fee. These are very, very simple things. So we decided to create a platform through which these questions could be answered. They could learn, share, learn from each other's experiences, and that was the idea. When we put together the first meeting, there were 30 entrepreneurs who came together, and they had an awesome session together. We threw this entire meeting together at a coffee shop. And as time went on, these meetings started growing. We had people from other cities who would come in and attend these meetings. And they said, why don't you bring this meeting to our city? Bring it to Chennai, bring it to Coimbatore, bring it to Hyderabad. And we started taking the meetings to other cities because it made sense. There are a lot of startups in all of these cities and they would all benefit from it. And since it's an ecosystem initiative, it makes sense to do it all over the place. So we took these events to all of these cities and we continued to do this. And at this point, two very interesting things happened. First, somebody just happened to drop 25,000 rupees into our account. And it took us quite a bit of effort to figure out who this person was. It turned out to be a member. And since it's India and we don't give money away to anybody without reason, we were quite stunned. And when we called him up and asked him, why did you give us this money? He said, it's a gesture of goodwill. I really appreciate the work that you're doing. It's really helping a lot of people. I see a lot of good coming out of it and I do not want this initiative to die for any reason, which is why I'm giving this as a gesture of goodwill. Left us stunned. In the immediate aftermath of this, an investor approached us and he said, I want to invest in this. And we weren't making any money. This was an ecosystem initiative. We were purely there in terms of helping and supporting entrepreneurs. We didn't charge them anything for the meetings. We had no money that we were getting out of this. So we didn't, in fact, we were actually investing to travel to different cities and all of that. And we did not understand why this person would want to invest, but he saw true value in this. And then he came back to us and said, I would value you at $400,000, which left us stunned because here was a company that wasn't making any money, had no plans to make money, did not know how to make money, and somebody wanted to support it with money. And this is exactly the kind of thing that I do not advise entrepreneurs to do. I work with startups and I know fully well that if you want to raise money, figure out how you're going to make money. So this left us stunned. And at this point we had to step back and look at what we are, what have we achieved in this much time. And when we looked at it, we were in 10 cities, we had 6,500 members, we had done 115 meetings in 2.5 years. We had achieved quite a bit as Startups Club, but we never realized this. What we were looking at Startups Club as was a purely ecosystem initiative. We didn't have any expectations from it. We did it because we were having fun doing it. We liked meeting people. An occasional project would come along out of Startups Club, and it was exciting to go from city to city, meet with a lot of entrepreneurs. It was enjoyable. We did it for the enjoyment. And honestly, if we wanted to had we tried to turn it into a business, we would have probably screwed it up completely. It was the lack of an expectation that made this what it was. If we had gone in there with an expectation, we probably wouldn't have achieved what we sought to achieve. And this got me thinking about what's India's potential. Half of the American companies use Indian knowledge base to grow themselves. And if that is the case, then India should be like superpower, right? But we are still a developing country. Why is this happening? Why are we not achieving our full potential as a country is a question that came to my mind repeatedly. And every time I spoke to somebody, they said it's because of brain drain. The really smart people actually leave the country, and that is why we are in the place where we are. But the brain drain did not automatically occur. There has to be a reason that pushed people to leave. And the more I looked at it, the answer was one word: the internet. We were very slow to get on the internet boat as a country. Today it might not seem that way, but the internet started in the 1990s. We were nowhere close to the internet in the 1990s. We were doing software which America was doing back in the 1970s. And in the 1970s we weren't doing software, we were doing agriculture. So we were late to arrive to the internet party. And if you have a group of people who have very high potential, they will automatically go towards what is exciting. And this is what caused people to leave. We didn't have excitement here. So we can't afford to miss this boat once again. The internet is about moving information. That's all the internet has ever done. Internet is a pipeline to move information from one point to another really fast. So what is the next big thing that's going to happen? The next big thing that's going to happen is moving atoms. We are going to get to a point where we are going to be moving atoms from one point to another, and you can see that manifest itself already. You have all of your e-commerce companies moving products from one place to another. You have all your hyperlocal delivery companies that are moving food and things of that sort from one place to another. And you also have companies such as Uber and Ola which are moving people from one place to another. At the end of the day, it's about moving atoms, and we have to be on top of this game. Now, where did all these smart people who left India come from? They came from the universities in India, right? So let's go back to the universities. Let's get kids excited. So I have embarked on 3 projects in this very university, which I am working on with kids such as you. The 3 projects are: 1, a drone. A drone, because if you're looking at objects, if you're looking at things that need to be transported, at the end of the day, an autonomous way of transporting is essential. And the drone is probably the best way to do this. The second project is a solar car. We need to have self-sustaining autonomous mobile vehicles. It's extremely important from the future's perspective. And we have abundant amount of solar energy that's available to us here in India. So a solar car. And the third, this might all seem difficult, but the third one is even more difficult, which is to do a rocket. Because at some point of time, we will have to leave the bounds of this planet. The resources that are available on this planet are just insufficient for us. We are consuming way more than that. And also as an insurance for our species, it's important to leave this planet. So we need to build rockets. And if America is doing it, so can we. So the question is, why do this? Why can't we have somebody else create these technologies? Why can't we have somebody else invent it and just go and work for them? Well, because first of all, nothing bad has come out of trying. We have the right to try. I am giving it a try. Secondly, there is purity in trying something for the fun of it. We are doing this not with a financial goal in mind. We are not doing this with any preset vision that we want to achieve. We are doing this purely for the sake of fun. And most importantly, we can do this. We have the necessary resources, we have the necessary brain power, we have the necessary people to pull all of this off. Then why should we not do this? We can and we will do this. And what I intend to achieve with this is to seed an idea. If we have enough people who have potential in this country, grasp an idea and work on it, the biggest businesses of tomorrow, the biggest ideas of tomorrow will come out of here and not out of somewhere else. And that is the end goal that I am seeking to achieve. Thank you.